Welcome to Recalling Spirits, the Power of Now series. The title of our talk today is Everyday Values, and it's leading up to something. Everyday values and the power of now and living in the now always leads up to something. It leads up to our tomorrows, because the choices that we are making in our world in this moment right now is what is creating our tomorrows. So what does it mean to you to have values in your life, to have values to live by? What does it mean to you? Does it mean that you are only kind when you want to be kind? Or does it mean that you have to behave in a certain way? What do these values mean to you? There are four different qualities that we're going to be talking about in these values. Kindness. What is kindness? It's the quality of being gentle, caring, kind, and helpful. Respect. Respect means being able to appreciate someone else's point of view and treat others as you would like to be treated. Responsibility, meaning we are accountable for our actions. And then integrity. And integrity simply means this: committing to honest and ethical behavior. Committing to honest and ethical behavior. You know, when we look at today's world, the world that we are living in right now, and I don't care what state you are listening from, doesn't matter, from California, to Florida, to, Maine. Whatever state you are listening from is the core of who you are and where you have placed your values. Well, you take your values wherever you go. So if you feel like, and I had this experience this week, and it was quite interesting to me, that idea of respect and being able to appreciate someone's point of view, and then treating somebody else like you want to be treated. So there was this little heated discussion, let's say, with a family member. And I really felt that need to be right. And then I remembered what I had just gone through, and with this recent diagnosis and my healing. And I said to myself, do I really have the need to be right? I can disagree with a person because I disagreed with the point of view, but I didn't have to be disagreeable. You can disagree with someone's point of view, but you don't have to be disagreeable about. Why? Because what happens is when we have the need to be right, like I did, and I would have been disagreeable, I just create more disagreeable in my life. And I don't want that. With this incredible healing that I have just experienced, I don't want to have any of that. So, kindness. Every day, are you kind to someone? First of all, are you kind to yourself? And what does the quality of kindness look like? It means gentleness of spirit, you're caring, and you're helpful. Now, respect is what we just spoke of. And then responsibility. Are you able to accept responsibility and take for the actions that you have taken? Sometimes what happens to us is we may have made a choice and we didn't like the choice, and then we didn't like the outcome, but we didn't want to take responsibility for the choice, as in commitment. Saying you're going to be somewhere at a certain time, and then you forgot about it, and it's 2 days later. Taking responsibility for that choice means, in that case, certainly stand up and say, I'm sorry, for whatever reason. It's so easy for us to take responsibility because in these everyday values, it all leads up to, are we living in integrity? Coming into integrity means that we are committing to honest and ethical behavior. In Ephesians 4:29, it says this: let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, but only such is good behavior for building that up, and so that it may give grace for those who hear. No corrupting talk. No corrupting talk. No corrupting unconsciousness coming out of our lives. What this simply means is being impeccable with our word. When you say something, mean it. And if you decide at 3 seconds later that you need to take it back, mean what you say. Keeping those commitments and staying in integrity is allowing us to build these tomorrows that we all dream of. Peace, love, joy, happiness, for our children to grow up in a war-free world, for our children to have the education, the life that you would have wanted them to have. It is in these everyday values that we are teaching ourselves and what we live by. They're being taught how you are living these everyday values right in your home, in your family, right at your dinner table. That is the values that your children are going to grow up and live by. How you behave in the office, if it's an office where you go, or out into your everyday life, whatever that might look like, those everyday values show up because you're showing up in those actions. So let us all learn how vitally important it is for us to take responsibility for our choices so that we can create a better tomorrow and ultimately to live in a world that is full of love and joy and peace, and that we don't have to look at the international news or any news at all that says there's a war that popped up over here, there's a war that popped up over there, there is famine here. You and I make a difference right here and right now by the choices that we are making. I love the prophet Isaiah in the Old Testament, and I quote Isaiah a lot because not only is he prophetic, Isaiah really speaks to my heart. And this is what Isaiah says in 30:21. As you turn to the right or you turn to the left, your ears shall hear a word behind you. And this is to say, this is the way, walk in it. So let's look at that. As you turn to the right or you turn to the left, your ears shall hear a word behind you. That's your conscience speaking. Your ears shall hear a word behind you, and it will say, this is the way, walk in it. What is having a conscience? That's not a word that we pass around much anymore in today's world, in our language today. We don't pass it around. We don't say, oh, wow, that person really had a conscience in how they behaved. Certainly we don't see it in our political figures. We don't see that people really have a conscience in our everyday world. So let's look at because that's what Isaiah is saying to us. You shall hear a word behind you. That's your conscience. And this is the way, and walk in it. So what is conscience? Conscience is an inner feeling or voice as a guide to the rightness or wrongness of a behavior. It's an inner feeling or a voice, and it's given to us as a guidance system for the rightness and wrongness of our behavior. So how can we monitor our conscience? We all have it, and you will never be able to convince me that you don't. I know many young people, they have tried to convince me of this. I've had this conversation with a number of young people. They don't think that there is a conscience, that it's just the way that the world is and that's what it is. And then, we all have a conscience, and it needs to be developed. How is it developed? By these everyday values that we are living by: kindness, generosity, compassion, giving, taking responsibility for our choices. That conscience that you have, it's right there. It's knocking. It's knocking at your heart's door. It's a voice in your ear. And as Isaiah said, this is the way to walk in it. So the next time you are about to make a decision and you're not sure about is if it's the right one and you're, oh, well, I could do this, but I don't have to tell that person that. Right there, your conscience is speaking to you. If you're not staying in integrity with that choice, that's your conscience saying, there's a guidance system saying, that's not the right way to do it. Let's get back to the right way to do it. And you know how we know that it's the right way to do it for us in that decision? By how that we feel, how that we align. We're not being pulled to the left. We're not being pulled to the right. We are aligned. We are aligned with that says, yes, this is the way to walk in it. Regardless of the risks that it looks like I am taking, I am going to be fully in integrity in my conscious choice of making this decision because it absolutely feels absolutely right. There is no pulling to the right or to the left. There's an alignment that happens. And it's alignment, it is aligning to that we were created in and out of, which is God, and which is always what I say, indeed, indeed. That place where we stand is holy ground. It is holy ground, and we can align with that holy ground because we are absolutely walking in the consciousness of love and light, knowing that we were created out of the image and likeness of God. So let's look at the expanding these values in our daily lives this upcoming week. And remember, this indwelling guidance system that we have is spiritual in nature. Our conscience is spiritual in nature. It couldn't be any other way because that's all that the Holy Spirit knows. It only knows wholeness. It doesn't know lack. It doesn't know limitation. It only knows wholeness. And remember the words of Jesus when he said, "And greater work shall ye do." So this upcoming week, allow those everyday values to be active in your life, to make those decisions that are out of the consciousness of yourself and for the highest good of all. So I am really excited about this series that we are talking about, this power of now and everyday values and living in the moment, knowing that right here, right now, we are creating our tomorrows. So I invite you to contact me this week at recallingspiritministries.org, knowing that you and I together, we can create a more conscious, loving, kind world. Together, we make a difference. So our affirmation for this week is, through the power of the Christ within, I live in integrity and make choices for the highest good of all. Let me say that again. Through the power of the Christ within, I live in integrity and make choices for the highest good of all. I am knowing that this is so. I give thanks that it is, and so it was. Amen. Thank you for joining us this week for the message of love and light. We are grateful for our members and everyone who made it possible to spread our message of hope and possibility to the world. If you found meaning, joy, purpose, comfort, or direction from our videos, I invite you to share the word with your family and friends. Join our growing community and help us spread the love of light even farther. You can start by saying, as they say, hitting the like button and smashing subscribe. Also, please visit us at recallingspiritministries.org to learn more about us and to participate in our weekly prayers of affirmation.